And welcome in, everybody. The teams have started the draft without my consent, so we are now going into our first game of the night. I am Thousand Eyes, that is TDS, and we are getting into our first draft, GG versus TDKB. They remade the draft anyway. Good, golly gracious. All right, we're a mess tonight, apparently.
There always have to be something. But the good thing is we're getting every bit of the draft just on time. Well, not on time, but just in a bit. So should be everything completely fine. And we have a couple of teams here that are looking really interesting to start off a couple of their matches. So hopefully we get a great match tonight.
Hopefully. Hopefully, as I'm trying to scramble to get the right draft into the stream right
Yeah.
now. Apologies, it's a little bit of a
Because
mess, but we will get through it. We do have Grumpy Grumps on the blue side here, TDK on the red, which, as we did say last time we had TDK on, it's interesting that they are usually on the red side here. So they seemed, I
they
don't know if they're picking that or if they're just leaning into it, but it seemed to work out last time. This time though, we will get underway, see what we're going to be banning. This is now one of the first games I think for these teams on the new patch. So Kaisa has been nerfed a little bit, and just a couple of other changes across the board. But we'll see what teams are going to favor here.
Exactly. Yeah, they serve nerf. I hope for more, but you have to get what you get for now and then hope that they nerf for more or wait to see what skin she's getting by Worlds. It's one of the
Yeah.
two. So we have to really have the speculation here. But overall, at the very least, she got hit a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. We will see. Ziggs has been taken off the board, which is kind of important here because Ziggs has been
Yep.
very, very good as a bot laner specifically recently. There's been a lot of mages that have come around in the bot lane in the last couple of weeks, and Ziggs has been at the top of that. Rel ban by Team Death Knights Blue, which has been the premier support in solo queue. So if you are a support player, especially if you do play tanks, definitely want to look at picking up that Rel.
And premier support champion and a really good jungler as well. So having two really good lanes that you can flex around with this rel is so ideal with the champion. That's where we see her so frequently banned away. So many players can play her around, and she fits so well into so many compositions. Moving on with the rest of the bans, though, a lot of attention towards the Rakan being put here as well, and then into the junglers, the Poppy and the Rek'Sai as well getting banned out. I like the Poppy ban more so than the Rek'Sai, not because Rek'Sai is a bad ban, but I think Poppy in the current state of the meta where there's so many dashes, she fits so well to counter out so many champions. So overall, the champion ban makes complete sense, and then Kaisa because obviously Kaisa.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense as well. You're looking at the red side as well, so you're not going to be able to first pick that. That's absolutely going to be taken up 99% of the time in the first pick. So with a lot of those power picks off the board, we're going to be seeing the Jarvan first picked, which is not what I expected here, but it is a really strong early game jungler that has that capability to get a lane going very fast.
Yeah, a really interesting first pick. I like the fact that you can not only play around for those early laning phases, but also the setup that the Jarvan requires to try and make team fights happen is not that difficult to accomplish. So overall, really consistent champion and really good to play around with in a lot of situations. Also, now getting picked the Kha'Zix. Good 1v1 dueler, but he needs to try and get things going early on because if not, he may not find the most value possible, especially looking into the later stages of the game. And now with an Ezreal, maybe not finding either a lot of attention in lanes. He needs to have someone that has control to provide safety and space for this Kha'Zix.
Yeah. Now, Kha'Zix is very much a champion that needs to get off the ground pretty quickly, so he does have to find those ganks early. The Ezreal is also just going to provide a little bit less opportunity for somebody like Jarvan to get an early gank off. So TDK already kind of responding to a lot of the picks that Grompy Grubs are picking up. Now we're getting the Samira
Oh,
and the Lissandra. This is a lot of lockdown to try and get this Lissandra or trying to get this Samira off the ground.
it's a lot of lockdown, but also a pretty clear indication that they want to go in. They are not going to wait and see what happens in a fight. They are going to commit and get things done in their own rules, which for a team like GG, I think probably fits them really well. And it's going to be really interesting seeing how they perform with this Amira and this Lissandra. I'm expecting to see potentially something like an Alistar Nautilus ban coming up later, just because these champions go really well with the Samira in lane, and then you can pair her or pair them up really well with the idea of the composition as well.
Absolutely. So we do have a strong indication of what we're going to be seeing from Grompy Grumps, but we also are getting a little bit more info on what TDK are picking up as the Azir is going to get grabbed here. There's a lot of mechanical skill in these champions, and they do have that flexibility. You just got to be able to pilot them correctly.
Exactly. It's going to be really interesting seeing how they perform with it and how many flashy moments we get or how many funny moments we get. It's one of the two with this sort of champions. Either you die as a hero or you live long enough to be a meme.
I guess that's true, yeah. As we are going to get into our second ban phase, Alawi and Karma taken out. So taking out some of the pressure from Grumpy Grumps, as well as the really strong Enchanter support. Karma, I believe, did get, or either did get or is getting a couple of
I think it's
buffs. I
getting.
think it
Yeah,
is getting
it's next
in
month.
the next patch. But Nautilus also going to be taken off the board, which is a very good combination with Samira. So you're trying to take away the engage opportunities here, at least in the bot lane.
And makes complete sense, right? You always want to try and pair these sort of aggressive champions. I put Samira in the same category as something like a Tristana, like a Kaisa, that early on, the best thing you can do is put them with an engaging champion because their passives, their kits synergize really, really well with that idea of play. And that's the best way to try and deny them to a certain degree, at the very least, to not allow for them to have an easy time when trying to go down the bot side. Picking Taric here, really interesting choice. I'm
Okay.
not sure if Taric Ezreal it's currently the best possible duo that you can go for with an Ezreal or Taric, but the idea to try and deny the full on engage from GG is really good, and the Taric may find a huge amount of value. I'm
Yeah, I mean,
whoa.
obviously, yeah, this is a reactionary pick here, and there is a little bit of outplay potential, right? You can shift forward with the Ezreal to get a stun or something like that. But most importantly, it is about like, okay, Samira can't ult through this. Fizz, though, being locked in response to a Taric is something that I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you want to not pick Fizz here, but let's see what GG is cooking. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but at the very least, it's a hype draft. But wait, see, so who's the support here? Is it Jarvan support? Or is it Lissandra support, actually?
I think it's Lissandra support. So, I have talked with a couple of people uh in higher rankings that do feel Lissandra is a solid support option. She
Interesting.
does have that poke, and again, she has that capability to just kind of go in and set up ganks really well, which when you have a Jarvan against an Ezreal Taric, if you can go in early and start a fight early, force the shift before Jarvan even gets there, it's a better opportunity for Jarvan to make something happen there. And obviously, the ult is really, really good if whether you want to buy space or if you want to actually lock somebody down.
Overall, I can see the logic. Like you're pointing out, the fact that she has so much CC makes it a really effective support. And her cooldowns are not that big. I think one of the things that they were buffing with over time, not necessarily in the most current patches, but one of the things that they tend to provide for Lissandra over the course of the patches was cooldown for some of her abilities. So she can spam them really effectively. And as a support, even if you don't have the most amount of mana, as long as you get good opportunities to utilize your CC or chain it up with your jungler, it's not that difficult to execute on it. So certainly can see the idea behind it. And the passive from Samira still gets popped to I because it's not a knockup, she doesn't get the full value, but you can still use the passive of the Samira to a certain degree here, which overall it's still not a bad thing.
Want me to wait while you go get them?
Yeah, we will see. There's a lot. Obviously, Grompy Grubs has one way that they want to play this, right?
Yeah.
You have the Fiora split push, and you have a lot of capability to burst people down. I would argue though that there's a lot of answers from Team Death Knights Blue though. So it's really a question of, are those answers going to be used at the right time? You know, Taric ult cooldown very, very long. Ezreal shift can be baited and utilized against Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix early on does not have a really strong capability to be mobile. So there's opportunity here, and if you snowball on this composition, I think it's going to get out of control. But TDK, they've got to make sure they're using their abilities at the right points.
Yeah, overall, they have to try and make the best use of their abilities with how they want to set up for fights. Poking out, obviously, going to be really ideal because the higher, I'm trying to think of a better word to describe, but the more chunk they are, yeah, I think that's a better way to put it. The more chunk they are, the harder it is for their engage to succeed effectively. So you need to try and make Ezreal, Asir poke as useful as possible. And another important advantage that I do think TDKB can try and play around with in this comp is the fact that Darius doesn't need to go in. Like they will come to him. So that facilitates and enables the Darius even more in this sort of composition. So at the very least, have some sort of advantage in those instances. Going to be a while before we see them scaling and trying to get to that point just because of some of the champions. But overall, the idea, I can see it working out if they are able to layer the steps correctly.
As it is going to be the Lissandra locked in the support position, it seems. So that will be our composition. Now, granted, early game here definitely seems to favor Grumpy Grumps. And
Yep.
they have a lot of champions that basically at level 3, they are online. They have everything that they need to do their job. And that's something TDK have to play around, especially as Kha'Zix's not known for his really strong early game. Unless you really catch him in a solid duel or something like that. Now, top lane, worth mentioning, Darius is a really solid pick into something like the Fiora because Fiora just doesn't have the damage to chew through him, and Darius will just beat the crap out of her, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Makes sense to me, and I think it's something that we're bound to see. At the very least, we're going to see a lot of fighting between these sort of champions. So it's not unexpected that we end up getting a potential kill situation at some point with that. And having a jungler like the Jarvan can enable you to go even more aggressive in that sense.
Absolutely here. And I think what we're going to do here is take a quick break as we get ready for our first game of the night. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this spectator delay. And welcome back, everybody. We are into game number 1. We have an ultimate skin on the Samira, which is going to be fun. But it is Grumpy Grumps on the blue side and TDK Blue on the red, ironically enough. I am Thousand Eyes. That is TDS. We are getting underway for game number 1 with a very across-the-line start for both teams.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary for the level ones. I'm always looking out for what they can accomplish, but with this sort of out of the ordinary comp on one side, I'm not gonna argue if they don't go immediately for a level one. Although technically, Lissandra could be a good level one with her W.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but still, that like guts your level 1, which I feel like would be
Yeah.
really important here against an Ezreal Taric. You have Samira to poke with you. You want to have the Lissandra to back it up so that Ezreal's level 1 doesn't do as much. So you're gonna get a little bit of a ward by this Azir here over at the Raptors. So Jarvan should be spotted out at some point here. A really nice aggressive ward there. Both junglers going to be starting on the red side as well, so we'll get mirrored jungling.
Would like to see, well, at this point, Luckified now it's going to get spotted, like you pointed out with the ward. But would have loved to see if maybe he goes for the Crocs instead and waits for the level 2 so that
Yeah.
maybe they go for an initial attack in the bot lane. Would have been really fun to try and accomplish with the Lissandra level 2.
Yeah, you'd think that's kind of what your team needs right now. You want to get there before level 6 and try to get something going. The earlier you do it, the more pressure you can utilize there, but it will just be the Raptors taken, and they should have at least seen him go back down for the Krug. So it seems like it's going to be a level 3 gank, and the fact that they're going to go for this, and it's going to be known specifically because they went for the Raptors there, it's going to be a little unfortunate.
It's really unlucky at this point. I like the idea that to try and go for it, especially because when you're playing also like off meta kind of supports. Technically, it's an off meta support, right? Oh
wait, we got a little bit of a fight. Ignite used his vendor flashes away. Topside, another gank as well. Fully Noided going forward with the jump and gonna get that first blood.
Nice.
So it is first blood to TDK. Saber's wife, who back under the tower, will survive. So it is 1-0 in favor of TDK.
1-0. 3 summoners are expended down there on the bot side, but overall, the first blood going to the Kha'Zix. Ideal start for a jungler that wants to try and get the ball rolling, but not super early on. He typically doesn't get those chances, so this first blood certainly going to be ideal. That being said, there's no teleport on the Darius in the top lane, so if maybe the Fiora can push this a little bit quick enough, can try and deny some CS, but doesn't seem to be a problem. So overall, really important win for the side of TDKV. And then now looking at what they're going to try and accomplish. With no summoners down on the bot side, I think they have to commit to try and get an advantage here.
Definitely. Obviously, did blow a lot of summoners. It is only that cleanse that is on that Ezreal right now. And that is going to be a really important summoner spell here in these next couple of minutes. Looks like Fully Noided is around in the area, so might look for something a little aggressive. Taric does not have the flash E, but Vendor can shift in. Will do so onto Avidel, who does heal up a little bit and stays alive. Vendor getting really low, but they will take out the Lissandra first, and that's going to be a double kill going over as Xenodrix takes that one. Just watches the Kha'Zix go away. A bit of a failed gank for TDK. Mid lane, though, BC Anthony trading a lot of damage onto Cuck Slice.
He needs to be careful though. The Seer still is a threat here. If the Six decides to, he can go forward.
Oh, no! Dashed into the flag and drag, and I think the bird will take him. No, nobody confirmed the kill. What are you doing?
You have to commit. See, Fizz hadn't used the E after that point, right? Like he still has it on cooldown. I think he got
it. It was used.
But before that one, right? At that point, I think he has it for in return, so he can commit with the flash and then get out with the last second E. I think. Well, it's a really slight margin, but I do agree. Someone has to commit for the kill there.
Like you could just walk under the tower there.
Yeah.
Oh, they put too much faith in the Fizz bird, and it is not a % health bird, so you will end up paying the price for that. That is an early riposte from Pognometron, who's gonna also pay the price for that on the top side of the map there. Shenzi doing a great job here. Did have a little bit of a rough time last time he was on stream. Looking a lot better this time around.
And with no teleport now on the Fiora, if she stays for too long, maybe it could be an opportunity for the Darius to try and go for a solo kill.
Definitely, Darius very happy here.
Oh,
Luckify coming back around. Quick Slice is actually pretty healthy this time, and BC Anthony's taking a lot here.
Lucas
Fully
on the
anointed to
side.
come around, and that's going to be a double kill for TDK as Quick Slice gets two there. Or sorry, gets one, and a third kill now for Fully Anointed. This Kha'Zix needed to get off the ground early, and that's also... Oh no, Shedzi has to flash for the kill and will trade it, so it is still technically positive as that wave will crash in favor of TDK.
Not gonna lie, I thought he was going to just ghost in, wait till the post comes out, and then press R. I feel like he had execute range at essentially every point there, but gets the kill anyway, dies under turret, yes, but getting the kill for the Darius is almost always ideal. And then the minions are going to slow push back into the Darius side, so this could be a really threatening situation for the Fiora, because with Kha'Zix on the top side, could be another gank attempt. Ooh.
Absolutely. Top side, or sorry, bottom side rather. Xenodrix and Avenel getting a little bit of a trade as Fizz is around a level 6. Ult will miss from the Fizz, but they will push forward now. Vendor has to back away from everybody, though. And they're tanking the tower a little bit too much. Vendor will get one and a second, though. So it is a double kill for the Fizz. Favorable for them. Sluckfied on the top side. Shenzi now in the middle of a 2v1 and waiting for Fully Anointed to show up. The Fiora ult will go through, but it might not be enough. Fully Anointed now, though. Taking a lot of damage. They can't burn through all of that. There will be Fully Anointed's flash.
The healing was enough there from the Fiora ultimate to not become a
threat. They're going for the dive. They stayed a little bit too long. And Pognometron's going to get that kill. And Fully Anointed is getting run down on the backside, getting back to that tier 2 tower. Saber's waifu now is here with the stun. Is Fully Anointed will trade onto that one. The heals from the Taric are doing so much. It's a double kill for Fully Anointed.
A double kill plus a huge amount of experience and gold up here with this wave getting collected by the Kha'Zix. That is such a bad... Oh, wait. Nice. Really nicely done.
Less than 8 minutes in, and we have had a total of 14 kills.
Isn't that exciting? That's the kind of game that I want to see from a composition that it's designed to go in. Like,
I mean, to be fair, it's not working out for that composition.
But they at the very least are trying. If they try, it's bound to work eventually. I think, maybe.
Possibly. And also, Avenel not getting a lot of experience in the process here. Saber is actually ahead on experience in this bot side, so we're still going to be waiting a bit. Another fish used onto the Azir as Luckified's going to go in. A nice push away with the Azir ult, and that will be a trade for Quick Slice, who does get the Fizz in the process. 1-for-1 with the Jarvan assistance, though. That is not what you want to see.
Every time we pan towards the mid lane and a play is attempted on the Azir, it just never works. Really good stun there.
Yeah, Saber hitting a really nice E, stopping the claw from the Lissandra. They're taking a lot of damage in the process, though.
And trying to go for an out attack under the turret without really considering the range ends up costing him quite a bit of health. The poke, though, has been working really nicely.
Whoa, there is the engage now as Xenodrix getting very, very low. Does not have a lot of healing here. There is the ultimate to grab the kill, though. The Taric ult is not online yet, so that is Xenodrix getting a kill. Topside, we're getting a gank here. Fully Anointed going forward, getting the slows down to get this Darius in. The jump forward. Fully Anointed will get the kill. That is 6-0 now on this Kha'Zix.
Yeah, this Kha'Zix is really, really powerful. And someone like Xenodrix on the bot side, even though the Samira is really far ahead, has to be scared about the potential from this Kha'Zix later on the game. The Taric and the Ezreal are going to scale really nicely, but one of the champions that are going to destroy you is that Kha'Zix, and he's been accelerated out of control at this point in the game. Yeah. So the team has to be really well prepared for what it's going to happen with the champion.
Yeah, and I also just love these roams from Saber, who's just been really active on the map, where you would expect that to be the Lissandra, right? Like, there's a lot of pressure that Lissandra can bring because she has that ability to just get over walls very fast. But it has been the Taric that has been showing up around, and that means we're going to be getting a Rift Herald taken by TDK at about 10 minutes, so they have the ability to get these plates down with it.
Going to be really good. And they have three really good lanes to try and make that happen. Mid lane has taken one plate already. In the top side, they've taken one as well. So they can get quite a bit of gold and quite a bit of value out of the first repair really effectively. Could also look towards the bot side if you want to try and deny onto this Samira as much as possible. So overall, the Kha'Zix has really good places to try and play down this repair and can try and maximize the gold value out of it.
Definitely. And it's already, like you've said, an accelerated Kha'Zix, and this is just going to make it even more so. Right now, looking around on that mid side here is Avenel has hit that level 6 and is around mid lane, trying to make sure a dive cannot occur.
We find it quite a bit towards this top side, and every time it just looks like Darius is going to get the better out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Darius is a little bit of a meatball. He can just kind of beat the crap out of anybody. So it's not really surprising to see. But Fiora does have that pop-off potential. We've seen it once or twice in this game already. Just the ultimate popping can really change things around. And there's so much healing in that kit that it can stop Darius from being able to get and execute where he would otherwise. We have a little bit of a gank on the top side here as Luckified showed up. Shenzi walking away, has Ghost, has Flash. So if the Catalyst is used, this might be a 1v2 opportunity for Shenzi, who has used the Ghost, trying to get in on the Jarvan. Catalyst used and Luckified going over with the return on to Shenzi, who uses the ult, but there is the Fiora, who is going to survive through the heals and pick up the trade. But again, 1-for-1 with Jarvan assistance. That's not the ideal situation.
Exactly, not at all. And that could have been even worse. I would argue Shenzi kind of outplaying himself there in that play, because could have been a much easier execution for the Darius. Oh wait.
Kha'Zix has shown up. They've used the ult, but that was used on the Kha'Zix, who did not take any damage in the process. Taric ult just for the extra assistance. And that is a quick 1-for-0.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I think a bit of a wasted opportunity with the Kha'Zix with the Taric ultimate. Not because it's necessarily bad, but I feel like they could have forced a bit more of the issue. They have waited just a second longer to use the ultimate there and try and shut down the Samira, which even if the Kha'Zix is really accelerated, the Samira as well is in a really good spot and could be a bit of an issue if not handled accordingly.
Definitely. Game is starting to get a little bit out of control here, and I'd argue it's a little more in favor of Team Death Knights so far. Every time we have seen tempo tried to be gained by Grompy Grumps, it has been basically matched every single time, right? Every gank that has happened has been 1-for-1. And that just really ruins your ability to win something and then continue on the map afterwards. So
but
Grompy Grumps need to find something going.
We're reaching the point though where the first items are being hit by multiple members, right? And this dragon fight, oh Vendor, you're alone here.
We're going in. Cataclysm has been used. Vendor does not have the ability to shift out of that one. As Xenodrix, a quick follow-up for that one. Still has the style points. Will fall off now. Avenel does still have that Frozen Tomb. But they aren't going to engage on this one because the health bars just aren't there.
Yeah, I don't think they can actually now try and fight this dragon. They committed quite a bit to try and get the Israel kill. But more importantly, Samira used Flash to try and get the kill. So now she's essentially a sitting duck if she missed positions at all. And
she succeeded.
Will be back. Yeah, she got the kill, but I'm not sure if the Flash is worth the Ezreal that is 1 and 2 at that point.
I mean, maybe. I see your point, but at the same time, like, this composition is Samira, right? Like, you have Cataclysm, you have Lissandra. It is all about Samira, but right now it's about the Fizz in the mid lane. Another push away from the Azir will not work out as well, though, as Anthony just takes a chunk, but will dash away, flashes, but the Q still follows, and another stun here.
Fully
gets another double kill. 8-0 on this Kha'Zix.
This Kha'Zix is a menace. 8-0-2, so much damage, so much value. He's going to get so easily healed up here over by the Taric thanks to hitting the dragon. So he's not going to be a threat of the Samira. Could be a thing to look out for, but it doesn't even look like they are going to try and contest with no jungler and the potential threat of throwing the game with that one play. certainly not going to be an attempt by the side of GG. They're still though behind in gold by quite a bit of a margin. A lot on that on the Kazakhs, but in other places there's not that big of a gold difference. Even in the Samira Ezreal matchup, I think that the gold difference is something manageable by the Ezreal vendor.
I mean, it's 1,500 gold, man. That's a chunk. That's half an item.
Yeah, it's not like it's not bad. It's more so I think Ezreal with that deficit, it's more understandable. I would argue.
Yeah. No, I see your point, and I would generally agree with it. We do have Fizz coming around for a possible gank on this bot side. Has not been spotted out on a ward, but I think the missing pings will give an indication. Luckified gonna show up to just grab this farm in the process, but Fizz with everything like that is the embodiment here. As Tarek's gonna use that ult, Chum the Waters is not gonna do any damage, and that's nothing gained there despite the ultimates used.
Yeah, it's technically two ultimates and a flash for just the Taric ultimate, which is a big cooldown to use, but overall really nice dissuade. And in the meanwhile, the jungler playing as the mid laner and the mid laner playing as the jungler doesn't turn into anything. And Kha'Zix just gets a free herald. Obviously, it's not the first Reap herald, but the value overall is just much, much higher for TDKB.
Yeah, and this was the fear that we had at the start of the game, right?
Yep.
Taric ult exists. Chum the Waters does nothing. The Lissandra ult really only means you're not moving. You're not actually taking any damage. And things just get a little bit rough from there. Xenodrix trading really well on Defender while he tries to take those wards. Top side, though, we have another gank coming in. Pognometron's trying to stay alive there as they will take the tower. There's the TP from the Fizz to try and make something happen. Shenzi getting very low as Pognometron backs away. Still not dead on. The Darius will eventually fall to the burn, but Luckified is here as well. And it is all going wrong here as Ezreal turns around bot side somehow as well. Vendor gets a kill. So across the map, it is 3-for-1. And TDK not only win, but have a Rift Herald to pop and open up this tier 2 tower.
Realistically speaking, that's the topside play. It's the one that makes complete sense that TDKB wins. Because they have the Fed Kha'Zix, so it should work out well. But the bot lane shutting down the Samira, it's not something that was at all in my mind. And that is so big for TDKB now, because the only strong point on the map was that Samira. Now that she's lost, that she lost her advantage and she gave up a shutdown plus the bot lane turret, what really does GG have at this point? It's so easy now to counter their composition because of this.
Yeah. It's not looking great if you're a GG fan. But things are not over yet. So we still have opportunities. Obviously, Jericho still a long cooldown. Remember that bot lane dive. It is still almost just like 3/4 of the way up. So like,
yep,
it's a long time. If you can continue to make plays, Samira known for having a very low ultimate cooldown. So there's opportunities here to make things happen. We just have not seen them work out, and Xenodrix losing out on that bot lane fight. It's not a good look here.
I think it was around the mark where the Ezreal got the Trinity Force, so it just meant that it was going to be more damage for him. Oh, BC Anthony.
Yeah, that's, again, just adding more to the weight that Grompy Grumps have to pull here to get a win.
Have to try whatever they can, and at the very least, I think for their comp, the best opportunity will be the next fight. That's where they can come all together and try and burst out a target if at all possible. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but that's the best opportunity this game they still have left to try it out.
I'm just going to drop in, peek out on Saber as the ward will be taken, but throughout all of this, Azir is just pushing this mid lane. Luckified's going to show up. Pognometron is also here, but there is an Azir tower, and Luckified has to back away quick. Ezreal ult as well as Luckified's going down to about an 8th HP. Will get ulted, but still gets taken down there in the process, as there is the Taric ult as well. Legendary for fully anointed. Quick Slice gets another one down, and the dragon is up for them to take, but I don't think they even want it. Chum the Waters is going to miss. Fully anointed jumping forward now as BC Anthony has showed up. The flash with
Ooh,
the
nice.
backwards, just styling on them, but Saber might be a little bit too far forward. No, Xenodrix does
no.
get too far up and gets stunned. And that's another death now as TDK have broken open the map.
Yeah, they are just taking complete control out of everything here. They are doing whatever they want at this point, going in onto multiple champions, using Target Ultimate offensively. You typically don't see that. It's the other way around. And now they are going to collect the dragon. Maybe Bender dies here to the Fizz. It's still a Fizz against an Ezreal, but not looking like that even.
Yeah, very, very unlikely here. Shenzi just uses the blast cones, has another blast cone. Nope, gonna go for the fight on this one as the blast cone will be used by GG. Now Vendor has turned back around. Fizz though is so bursty, and without the help of that Taric, you're gonna go down. Vendor gives over a shutdown to this Fizz.
The fact that it was as close as it was, it kind of scares me, but that's the realistic outcome out of that fight. Shenzi,
he's going in. There is the guillotine to take him down. Pognometron now trying to fight and avenge his fallen comrade. Quick Slice has showed up as Shenzi will go down. Quick Slice is going forward, uses the shift over the wall, but the Samira is now to follow up. And now Saber's trying to get over, but not in time, as that will be Xenodrix getting another shutdown. This is a lot of gold going into Grompy Grumps' backpack.
Yeah, I think TDKB going a little bit too crazy in that fight because they commit way too heavily. Because they are really far ahead, makes sense, but they commit too much. And that's why they pay the price at the end.
Oh, fully anointed is here. There is no Taric ult. That's a lot they've picked up. Shutdown going to the Fizz. And they're going to get Saber as well. Again, no Taric ult, and they continue to fight fully anointed, giving a lot of money over.
They closed out the gold lead by quite a bit. I think it was 7,000 gold before, or 8,000 gold. Now just 5,000 gold. Really good for them, and they are looking at Baron. No jungler, no Taric alive. It's still risky just because of the poke, but...
Yeah, well, poke doesn't matter if you kill him in the process. It might not have even been trying to go for the dragon, as Xenodrix uses that ultimate. And there will be a Quick Slice showing up. The Baron's still being taken slowly but surely, and they're going to back over to it. As again, tempo has shifted strongly. Quick Slice still trying to check this one out, but I think the Baron's just going to get taken, smited down. No, Luckify doesn't even need it, not even worried about it. Zonya's used for BC Anthony, a massive cataclysm, but now there's that ultimate. Cosmic Radiance to keep them up. Fully anointed is able to get resets here, but there's Xenodrix going in with the ult, doesn't get the kills though.
No, and the
all of them low, and Pognometron can't finish it off. They get the Baron, but they get aced in the process.
Amazing counter throw in the process. With the Baron being obtained, they recommit to a play that was essentially dead, and because of that, they find now no Baron buffs on no member on GG. They will push this wave, get mid lane turret for free, and the game is back to the point that it was originally at. It's all in the favor of TDKB now.
The gold shifted a little bit, but I don't think it really matters either. Again, massive Cosmic Radiance from Saber's waifu to keep that fight from going all sorts of haywire. And with that, at the end of it, yeah, Baron gave them a lot of gold, but that's really all that it's going to be giving them, and they lose an inhibitor on the way out.
Yeah, but that fight though really showcased the huge importance.
Bender?
Oh wait, Bender.
Chum the Water's gonna hit, and there is the playful trickster. BC Anthony gets another kill, and I think Ezreal needs to realize you can't play like that against a Fizz.
Yeah, can someone please explain to me why Ezreal keeps on going to the side lane to face the Fizz? It's not the first time, and it's never worked out so far.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you on that one.
There's no real justification, really. It's just why.
It's just an adjustment needs to be made. Pognometron finally gonna get this top lane tower as Fiora really strong at the split push. Finally able to utilize it. They will be getting at least a little bit of global gold from that, as Dragon going to be spawning in a minute. This is Soul Point if it is picked up by TDK. It's still not a soul, though, so not major alarms going off yet.
Yeah, that one dragon they got in the process at one point in the game, really making a difference. If it was Infernal Soul, that would have been game over, I would argue.
Chum the
So much damage.
waters.
Oh.
Use. Saber. Not going to get committed on. We'll be backing away. Locket used. Ezreal used as well. We're 27 seconds away from this dragon, so neither of those skills going to be available.
Maybe the ultimate there by the Fist to try and bait out the Taric ultimate. If he's able to find that, that's a huge victory for a pre-team fight.
Oh, Saber might have to burn the Cosmic Radiance early. Gonna get stunned, and I don't think it's gonna go off in time. Yeah, just gonna go down. BC Anthony just trying to stay alive now. Fully Noited now caught out with no help as Fender's trying to run away. There is BC Anthony going forward again, and there's the Zonias to stay alive. So now they are not gonna go down. Xenodrix is still sitting on the ult, wants to use it before all of that style points.
Oh, shit!
No, there will be the Darius falling as Quick Slice. The only one really left healthy is Vendor still kiting out here. Ezreal has stayed alive, and now Luckified is the only one alive for the side of GG. And I don't think Luckified wants to fight it. It's 4 for 4, and somehow TDK pull a win out of a match.
He's backing out of Vision.
No.
Yeah, he's backing out of the bush.
Oh, Luckified almost goes down, barely staying up. And look at the base. Luckified has to back to deal with it, so they can't even try and fight over the dragon. Vendor could just start it up.
Yeah, they can't at all. They have the dragon on the side. It's going to be collected. It's soul point for the side of TDKB. And it's just such a chaotic mess. I don't know how they won the 5v3. Realistically, it should have been such an impossible fight to miss out for the side of GG. But really well outplayed, really nicely done. Even though Taric Ultimate wasn't used at all in that fight, they are still able to win it out. And now, technically speaking, they still have the Taric Ultimate, so they can force another fight if they won.
Yeah. I mean, good on Saber to recognize that you're not going to be staying alive in that. It's not going to do you a whole lot, and you're not going to gain much from it. You would rather have it for a bigger team fight. Still can make that happen. Baron's still up. They have the Infernal Soul in 4.5 minutes as well. Everything in just a solid spot here for TDK if they can make it happen. They just have to be able to make it happen themselves.
Yeah, we've seen some of these fights be counterproductive by them. Not like I think GD has responded well, but most of the time it's TDKB being at fault in how some of those fights happen. So they need to close it out the best they can.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I didn't expect this game to go this long. I thought one way or another, this game was going to be won in about like 25 minutes, right? Because you're looking at Grompy Grumps. They have a composition that is just very, very snowball oriented. And the fact that they've not only fallen behind early, but then been able to pull it back to a degree is a testament to how capable they are at staying in the game. Right now, it is still everything going well for TDK.
Yeah, overall, I would like you're pointing out, I would argue it's more.
Oh, Pognometron, you don't win these, buddy. Yeah, Azir is gonna win those ones pretty darn hard, and Pognometron has to flash away. Pixelize wins out on that one. Has the TP available as well. Both of those laners do.
They have a lot of now advantage thanks to the Fiora being pushed out of the side lane. The only thing that I don't... Oh, wait.
Chum the Waters does not hit. That's a big cooldown down as BC Anthony Playful Trickster's out. They're not going to continue on the fight. TP used as Luckified is caught out alone. Yep. Flags and drags over the wall, but there is a Kha'Zix waiting for the kill. And with the jungler down, they're going to move over to the Baron.
Yeah, I was going to say that before the attempt happened onto Fully Noted and Luckified died, they cannot do the Baron fast enough just because the Seer and Kha'Zix are kind of the main ways to try and burst the Baron out. So if they were able to hold the Seer on the side lane, it probably wasn't going to be a big risk to lose out on the Baron. But because they forced the play too heavily, they lost out on the kill on the Kha'Zix and then Lockify dies. It's such an easy execution to pull off. Really quick Baron, really nice point to be at as TDKB, and now it's just on them to close out the game. They have the Asir, super strong. They have a really good 4-1 that they can try and pull off, and as long as they don't int legitimately, it should be a relatively easy way to close out the game.
Yeah, there's so much siege between the Ezreal and the Azir, and
Yeah.
there isn't a way to answer. Like, what wave clear do you have on the side of Grumpy
Lissandra.
Grumps? The full tank Lissandra.
Yeah, Lissandra.
I don't think that's it, buddy. I don't mean to question your analysis, but I don't think that's it.
But she has the Q. She can if she
She
builds.
sure does.
Maybe if she builds tier now, she can just spam the Q, and that way maybe.
You know,
Or if
couple of
Jarvan
tiers.
sells everything and builds a B. Oh
Multiple
wait,
tiers. As multiple tiers will be shed here as Avanel uses the ult, flashes away, does stay alive. Cosmic Radiance used very early, does not block any damage. So there is a possibility to turn things around, but it is still a lot of siege and a lot of damage. As TDK, they have the Ezreal, they have the Azir. A good engage, and Jarvan's going to go down, but the Cataclysm is there. But they cannot get Xenodrix in, still building up that ultimate, now using it, trying to turn the fight. Everybody's low health. Xenodrix is almost winning that one, but the damage is good and cannot win the fight. TDK, they get a lot of low health bars, but they still win the fight, and they're gonna win the game as they take the Nexus towers down, and the Nexus as well. TDK go up 1-0.
Yeah, at that point, it was unluckily Comdiff. Even without the Taric ultimate, they were able to dissuade the engage, and with their gold lead, destroy them really effectively. Really fun game overall. Like, there was a lot of chaos, a lot of kills, and a lot of happy timings on both sides. But overall, at the end, because of a composition, I would argue a composition design thing, right? The fact that one composition is built upon being able to win mid game fights so heavily that if they don't have the lead at that point, or they are not able to force those fights in mid game, even if the game goes long enough, I'm not sure if they were going to find more team fights that were going to benefit them. And at the end, it was really clear that it wasn't going to be the case.
Absolutely. Look at the damage on the Azir here. 51,000 damage on this Azir. Just dwarfing everybody else in the game, almost double anybody else.
Yep.
Quick Slice did a lot of work, especially the later that game went. We saw it with that fight with Pognometron. And TDK, well, it got a little bit dicey here and there. It was TDK's game to win, and win it they did. But with that, we're going to take a quick break as we get ready for our next game of the night, guys. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our second game draft. And welcome back, everybody. We are in our draft for game number 2. TDK taking a longer but decisive victory in game number 1. Once again, I am Thousand Eyes. That is TDS. And we'll see what things are going to swap up here. I'd expect TDK pretty happy with how things went. Not going to look to switch things around. This time, though, they are on the blue side, so they have a little more opportunity to leave some of these power picks up.
Is it the first time we've seen TDK now on the blue side?
It is not the first time. They've just
Okay,
been
so they've been.
majority on the red side.
Yeah, it just feels like
Which
they
is
play red side almost every time.
Yeah.
That it kind of feels like
it's
the first
very
time.
funny. It is a very funny joke.
But well, at the very least, finally they get they get the blue side now. And with that in mind, what bans are going to be changed here? I would ideally think that now TDKB doesn't ban the Kaisa and GG Sports don't do it, which means that a lot of the composition from the previous game could be achieved by TDKB once again, or one of the other stronger champions, like Poppy that was banned as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of options, right? The Poppy was banned. The Rel was also taken out, as well as the Kaisa. So right now, none of those being taken out. We are seeing Ziggs is still up. We're seeing the Rel.
Yep.
We're seeing the Kaisa. There's a lot here. I'm surprised to see the Jarvan ban. The Jin ban is interesting because that went through the entire. I'm a little confused. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would have guessed that ban coming through in the first game, not necessarily in the second game where nobody showed it.
Yeah, well, GG have a lot of options here. As it makes sense from the sense of Xenodrix likes that champion, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense in that if they were gonna pick it, you would expect it to be picked in game 1. It is gonna be the Sejuani ban for Grompy Grumps, who are picking up, or sorry, TDK rather, are picking up the Kaisa with that. Now, Rel is available, Ziggs is available, the Poppy is still up as well. So there's a lot of options for these teams that were not available in game number 1.
Interesting though that they go for the Rel instead of the Kaisa. So thinking that the Kaisa is lower priority than the Rel. Well, Rel is one of those champions that, technically speaking, it's the best possible to try and lock down the Kaisa because of her huge amount of CC. So in that sense, I can see it. The other one I always bring up is the Maokai that now picked by GG, because just point and click CC is always super effective.
Yeah, and I mean, Rel just also is a very good champion, right? Like she's got a lot going for her right now. The rework has done her good, and she just kind of outplays a lot of other tank supports in the meta right now, especially if you take her against somebody that has shields. So Rel makes a lot of sense. Maokai is going to be picked up, as well as the Jace. So Kaisa not touched specifically in that pick order. So if TDK want to go Rel Kaisa, they just can.
Yeah, really weird that it's happening like this. And technically Tristana as well, still really strong in this patch. So Tristana, Rel, and Kaisa could be picked on this rotation for TDKB. Something we barely get the chance to see at all.
I think you may have given them an idea. The Tristana is going to get locked in here. And TDK, they're actually hovering a top laner right now. We'll see what the actual pick is going to be. As the Tristana most likely going to be going in that mid lane, has that flexibility, but has been seen more often in mid, especially as a response to something like the Jace. Both these picks have capability against the Jace in very different ways.
I would have loved to see the Aatrox, in all honesty. I think he's still he's still a really strong champion, and Jace top lane hasn't been picked in quite a while, realistically. So I wouldn't expect that to be the case. But well, the Renekton is a really strong champion as well overall, and can win a lot of the matchups. So
yeah,
not a bad option.
Yeah, I mean it's very different ways to play those lanes, but regardless, the Jace will be answered one way or the other. The Karma is going to get locked in here for Grumpy Grumps. Grumpy Grumps. Man, I always mess that one up. So the alliteration confuses me and my small little brain. But Karma will be locked in. It was banned in game number 1 in our second ban phase, so picking this one up before it can go through. And Kaisa gets through all of that, and it's just going to be banned away in our second ban phase here, alongside the Alawi by TDK.
Really, really interesting, like, way that the draft transpired.
Mm-hmm.
But well, there has to be some priorities. This is still not a patch with Caitlyn buff, so interesting that they banned it
Thank
here. But
God.
I'm so
Don't
excited
give me
for
that.
that. That has to be
I'm
one of the. Oof,
I'm
it's
whatever
a
word you
buff.
could think of, that is the opposite of excited for that. Because I man, I wanna outrage AD carries. I wanna
Like that
either
has to be
outrage or grab them or something. Like I don't like Caitlyn.
that has to be collectively the first time I think League community has come together and said that is one big buff. Like it's so obvious, so apparent how it helps Caitlyn, and everyone just sees it coming through. But well, Frick is the one on the balance team, so it makes sense
Yeah,
that Caitlyn is getting this buff actually.
yeah. I'm a little surprised, but not really. I don't know how strong it's really gonna be. I think it's best gonna be used in lating phase. But regardless, there is no Caitlyn in this game. The Ezreal will
Yep.
be paired up with that Karma for Grompy Grumps, and we're getting a Braum as well. So this does mean we're getting the Rungle, and with the Nico lock, Tristana will be going in that bottom lane here. So TDK shifting things around a lot here with these multitude of flex picks that they have gotten for themselves.
Really interesting way that, like, once again, that everything kind of transpired in the draft. But at the very least, if you have the Rel, if you have the Renekton, I like the fact that you do have the Nico as well to go in as a team. The Braum going to be a really good neutralizer to a certain degree with the shield value, and the Fisher to try and deny some engage potentials in some occasions. And the Cho'Gath big tier. I love the Cho'Gath, by the way. I think an underused champion in general in a lot of situations. May have a bit of difficulty in certain moments in the matchup, but overall shouldn't be suffering that much. And then come late game, he's a really effective tank, plus the fact that he gives you essentially a second smite.
Definitely, yeah. Cho'Gath has a lot of capabilities. So now that we are through this draft here, I will say, and I will say this as politely as I can. I have never seen a Jace be successful in any of these games I've casted. I get that
It
the
happens.
champion can be good. I haven't seen it. So I obviously have a level of concern here with this Jace, and I want to see it succeed, but I have that history with it, and you're gonna have to change my mind on this one. I think in the game, but it's gonna be going up against that Nico. It has more siege potential. So Grubby Grubs kind of changing up what they had last time. They have the frontliners, they have the disengage in the Maokai Karma, and they have the Jace Ezreal to just throw projectiles non-stop at TDK and try and stop them from an engage.
Yeah, this is kind of similar to the logic in the previous game with the Seer and the Ezreal, right? I think this is even better because you have way more poke and way more consistent poke at that, thanks to the Jace and the Karma, and a frontline that can try and be as sturdy as possible in case something is weird. But overall, this is a similar idea. You poke them out before they go for the engage, and when they finally decide to go in for the engage, at that moment, if they were poked enough, they are going to die instantly. So it's not going to be as effective. And in that sense, I can see Gigi's composition triumphing really effectively. This composition also technically scales better than TDKB's. So if they are able to reach post 30 minutes, 35 minutes, it should be really, really easy for them to try and win out with just the sheer value of their composition. That being said, we saw that TDKB just won really effectively off of a lot of good outplays in the previous game, and that may be much stronger with this sort of going composition.
Absolutely. As we are going to continue to see. Now, I am a big fan of the Rungle. I have been a big fan of the Rungle since it was basically announced that Rel was going to be playable in the jungle. I practiced clearing it with a couple of players who are really good at jungle clears. This champion is a little goofy. She can clear really well if you know what you're doing, and you can just engage like nothing else. Obviously, her burst on objectives has been nerfed pretty heavily to just normalize it and make her a bit of a less of an objective control champion, because she was out smiting Nunu's. when she was going for a bit. But now she still has that engage potential, and on that little bit of the increased jungle budget, she hits her item spike sooner, which gives more opportunity for champs like this Nico or Renekton who want to snowball to just win fights.
Yeah. Such a, I think it fits clearly and well with the idea that they have behind them, and the fact that these champions are currently really strong also helps them quite a lot. So it's a perfect storm that not even if played perfectly, if played well enough, is going to give you a lot of benefits. And I think TDKB already kind of show that they can certainly pull that off. And in the topic of the Rel jungle as well, I'm kind of surprised, not in the fact that they wanted to make the direction so clear into the jungle, but the fact that they didn't try to make her a bit weaker in the support position. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that typically Riot, if they want to push one champion into one position, they nerf the other position that is really strong, so that the two of them kind of balance out, right? But they kept the power in both places, which is weird to see sometimes, but it benefits a lot of the game because now you still have that flexibility so effectively.
Definitely. And it is almost a flip of what we have seen in terms of compositions here, right? Like you've
Yeah.
got the engagey, like death bally kind of comp on the side of TDK, and on the other side you've got the Siege, you've got the Ezreal Jace, who are looking to just keep distance and continue pelting down this Braum and Rel and keep them from feeling like they can make it engage realistically. It's obviously a little different all around, but I see at least where they're I see where GG is trying to go for this, right? And that gives me a little bit of hope. That gives me a little bit of promise. I'm still definitely though concerned because rel ganks are nasty. The
Yep.
Nico is terrifying. You have to now count your minions. Don't hit the second cannon. It is not going to give you extra money. Uh, the and then you just have Tristana who can reset really really hard. I think TDK have set themselves up for success in this game.
And you also are going against, yes, Maokai, Cho'Gath are going to be really tanky, but the other three champions are so killable so easily that as long as the Rel gets on top of them, they should be able to destroy them at the moment they get on top of them. So it's going to be a difficult affair for GG. I think they have a very nice comp, but I am also inclining more towards TDKB. Like this feels like a game where they are saying, "We saw what you did in the previous game, and we're going to do it better."
Yeah, we'll have to see though, as we are going to wait out the rest of this spectator delay. So do not go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with game number 2 and see if TDK can close this one out or if Grompy Grumps will take us to a game 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. We're right into the action of game number 2. And this time around, we have a little bit of grouping here from Grompy Grumps. We're running up onto that top side as a group. Luckified running the first strike on the Maokai here. So not looking to be a beefy boy, but definitely looking to try and poke people out and add to this siege that Grompy Grumps have built up.
Can they pull out this level 1 here? Shenzi, he's going to spot this. I think he's fine, though.
No,
He started
flashes
Q.
away. Yes, starts Q, has to flash. That is Ignite used for a flash, and Shenzi probably has to back here. Won't have to TP, but definitely not happy with the turn of events here, and that gives Pognometron a lot of flexibility here in this lane. Not having to worry about that flash stun means less likely to have a major gank happen on that top side.
And the big risky part here, though, is the fact that because of the point and click CC that you get, the chain CC onto this Renekton is not bad. And they probably are going to be able to lock him down and find an opportunity to try and kill him. Will it happen, though? It's kind of difficult because these are not two of the highest damage dealing champions. So probably not going to be an easy task. But a really good opportunity opens up there in the top side.
I think more than anything, it just gives that flexibility, right? Like you don't have to worry as much about being ganked. Pressure is a little bit down. You're gonna look on the bot side, see Avidel doing what Karma does best on that level 1 and just poking the hell out of your lane opponent.
Tristan already taking so much punishment. This is going to be a fun bot lane for them.
This is an interesting path too. If you look at the Rel, has skipped the red buff, saving that for last. Which definitely mixes things up a little bit here.
Is it maybe to try and delay as long as possible to try and go for a bot lane gank?
I don't think so. I think it's to keep the red buff longer, would be my guess. It is a little bit slower for what it's worth, but it does mean that you have the red buff for a little bit longer. Luckified, though, clearing everything on the top side, and they are going to try and go for that gank. Flash W from Luckified. The Rupture misses, and Shenzi might just be able to walk out of this. They cannot go under the tower. A clutch juke there from Shenzi to keep himself alive. Mid lane, no, bot lane rather. Xenodrix getting flashed on by this Tristana. The stun is going to hit, but the damage is not there for the kill. So it is a lot of damage traded, but a lot of summoners burned. Every single one used on this bot lane for TDK.
That was such a telegraphed play, and not only such a telegraphed play, but really forced as well. At the end, they blow every summoner to try and just get the flash off of the Ezreal. And even though it's a good thing to get the flash of the Ezreal, he still has Arcane Shift and heal. This is going to be such a top bot lane to try and have an impact on now, because now it depends wholly on the Rel to get the gank going if a gank happens.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Shenzi also trading really well into Pognometron, and a little bit of a damage miscalculation from the Cho'Gath, as it will be first blood going to Shenzi after all the aggression.
It turns out that Flash is just a decoration for the Renekton, and he just needs to get on top of them and kill them.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Like, why do you need Flash? You have 2 dashes in your kit. Just kill him.
You have 2 dashes, point and click CC, a heal, and a lot of damage early on. So why not go for it?
This reminds me of have you ever seen the pros get like explained a champion and what the champion does? And they like a lot of times they don't know, and they're like, this champion's like busted. Like this champion has a non-ultimate skill that is an AoE 2.5 second stun, and everyone's like, what, this champ's busted? It's like, it's Echo. Like it's Echo. He's not that crazy, guys. Like, don't worry. But meanwhile, we have top lane. Rel has showed up, and again, with the TPUs, they want to try and get Pognometron, trying to wait for that crash down. Will flash away from it. But again, Pognometron, all the summoners burn, and still, like, you don't want to leave this lane despite being at about 400 health, because you're going to miss so much experience. Look at where the wave is, and it's still pushing towards Renekton.
Yeah, this is such a bad state to be in. I think Shenzi, though, helping a bit. Nice amount of damage there. But this is also being helped a bit by Shenzi pushing the wave. Could have left it in that spot for a bit longer and could have set up for a potential gank or at level 6 a potential kill threat onto Pognometron. But it's such a tough situation to be now as the Cho'Gath because you're essentially always a threat. Shenzi is still going to hit level 6 before you, and any opportunity he gets to kill. Oh,
Ooh,
wait.
mid lane, yes, right side hits
Anthony.
the ultimate, flashing back up after
Oh,
the
the
knockback
minion.
from BC Anthony, and the minion helps out there as BC Anthony will survive. Avenel showing up for moral support. Make sure the mid laner gets out alive. And a lot of summoners and ults traded, but Tryside does not get the kill at the end of the day.
And BC Anthony actually kind of unlucky there. The minion blocking the shockwave, the empowered shock blast, could have been a really good opportunity to burst out the Nico. Because with no ultimate at that point, I think clone use as well could have been just a perfect setup. And here's the thing: level 6 on Renekton.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Pognometron will not survive this one. Yep, there is the
Yep.
stun. There is the Q. We salute you, our fallen soldier. You will have to walk back on your own time. Bot lane
Ooh,
gets a
nice.
little bit of poke happening, trading. Fender gonna hit a little bit back on Avenel, but nothing to be had on that bot side just yet. Top lane, though, again, still just getting out of control. 2-0, 15 farm up. This Renekton is gonna be out of control if any team fights happen on that top side of the map.
Really weird though that we haven't seen any sort of gank attempts over at the bot side. We saw that one over on the top lane to try and impact the flashless Renekton. Didn't work out. But after the fact, we haven't seen Maokai really trying to impact any lane. With a point and click CC like him, like the one that he has, you should be looking proactively to try at the very least look into some of the lanes. I understand maybe bot lane not, because they are going to constantly get pushed in the wave. But mid lane was getting pushed. That was a perfect opportunity for it. And a gank bot, maybe?
Oh, here comes Sry, who does
Oh
not get the
no.
dragon, but does get the kill. Meanwhile, Cypher Soul coming in, hitting the stun on
Yep.
Avenel. There is the follow-up as Vendor will get that kill. And it is 2 kills over, but the objective at least does go to Grompy Grumps.
The objective is the best possible thing here. Ooh, nice sidestep by Shenzi there. The main saving grace is that objective, like you're pointing out. And this played as well. Good gold. Not going to turn into a kill, but a good amount of gold. But this game already starting quite difficult for the side of GG. Strive maybe looking for a potential play here with Cypher, but really difficult to accomplish at this point.
Yeah, and Sarai has done a really good job with these disguises too. Like,
Yeah.
has popped up out of nowhere, just very clearly has worked on piloting this champion since the rework, and with the Nico becoming pretty meta in terms of at least pro play. Or, maybe not meta. Meta's maybe not the right word, but at least playable in terms of
Yeah.
pro play. It's really interesting to see people who have put the time in, because you can definitely tell a difference. There is the minion ult,
Yep.
and that's the knockup. Cypher Soul is gonna get that kill as Sry helping out once again. The minion is not your friend. You gotta count the minions, and sometimes if you don't, they will end up killing you.
If I learned something while casting, is that counting is hard. So we shouldn't
True.
try and do that during any cast. But certainly it's going to catch you off guard. Oh, Pognometron?
Ooh,
That
Pognometron
was a
not getting the
scary.
ult. Yeah, I want to check actually. Where's the ult is only going to be doing 366 right now, so it was not going to be getting a kill. That's why we did not see it used. But Pognometron will be able to get pretty tanky here. Also, just those 6 minion stacks to help out. Will
And
at least.
technically speaking, thinking about the itemization, right? This time around, you can just force yourself into building armor. Oh,
Oh no, the Q used,
yep.
which means that is the engaged.
Yep.
Shenzi gets another one. Luckified is now
I don't
up.
think
I
you win
don't think
this.
you win this fight, Luckified. But we'll just show up and catch the wave. Rel is now here too. They can
Do they
look
want to
to try
dive?
and go. Yeah, Rel can tank this. Rel does not seem to want to here. They're just going to take the kill and leave, which I think is the right call.
100% agree. I think it has to do also with the fact that teleport could be up for Pognometron, so they don't want to play around maybe the teleport coming through at the worst timing possible and dying. Shenzi should be careful here. He should be fine here, unless Pognometron flashes.
Yeah, flash
Yep.
rupture. Pognometron wants to get in silence there, but no follow-up. Can't
Too
hit the
far.
auto attack. Another
No.
rupture. He's just gonna walk up and
Okay,
eat
he
him
hits him.
alive. Shenzi does go down, and that's a 600 gold kill over to Pognometron to get him back in this lane.
Yeah, big shutdown in that play. Oh, and bot lane.
Oh, not the glacial fissure you want to see. And I am also gonna I'm going to steal a point here. Oh nope, Sarai is actually gonna ignore me and go for the engage.
Anthony.
Nice flash from Anthony, but Cypher Soul gets that one. Bot lane still continuing to fight. Ignite on Defender and the return flash from Xeno to get the kill onto the Tristana Saber, backing away under the tower, but it's still going to be a double kill. Top lane is going to fight at the same time, because why would we let me talk about anything but the action happening in the game?
I think they now have stopped, so
Yeah,
we probably
they
have
now
a bit
stopped.
of time now.
This is going to be I would say kind of a nitpick here. And I'm going to steal this. Summer, if you're still watching, I'm stealing this from you. Do you see the support item picked up by Braum?
Yep.
Yeah, it is the Targons, the ability power one, right?
Correct.
Do you know which
Interesting,
abilities Braum has at AP scaling on?
So, logical thinking would make me think it's the Q, but I think it's a trap one, and maybe it's just the ultimate.
It is just
Or the
the
passive.
ultimate. It is just
it
the
actually?
ultimate. Yeah, it is only the ultimate. The Q has health scaling. So
Yeah, like I feel like it would be such an obvious thing that it has to be a trap question.
yeah. If I'm asking the question, it kind of begs you to wonder. Cypher Soul maybe getting a little bit too deep there, as BC Anthony's going to get a shutdown off that one. Trying to follow up and get a return kill, but there is a lot of people here, and there's the Nature's Grasp to go in, and Srai's going to pay the price on that one. Things are falling apart very quickly here. Saber's waifu trying to run away as GG trying to turn things around. They will not be able to, as that is going to be, or sorry, they will be able to, rather. They are on the red side. My brain completely shut off. And that is a couple of kills going over to Grompy Grumps to give us an almost even kill number, as well as the gold being advantage of Grompy
Exactly.
Grumps.
It's such a weird situation here. The game started so well. Actually, it's kind of similar to the previous game, right? It starts so well for the team that has the aggressive comp, but it kind of gets outplayed. Oh, Shenzi, I think you may...
Oh, Shenzi's gonna
he gets
die.
it. Well, at least he gets a kill. I was worried he wasn't going to get anything, but Cho'Gath Fist not up, so not going to turn into a kill. Still, trading 1-for-1 is not the ideal situation for this comp, because you're giving back the gold that you end up gaining anyway.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
an aggressive comp, you have to maximize that value, right? So giving up any sort of gold almost always benefits a composition that is willing to scale.
Yeah, and here's my other worry, right?
Yeah.
The feast was almost up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I trust that Shenzi knew just exactly when the feast was going to be up, right? So I'm a little worried that you try to go for that again, assuming the feast is down, and it is actually up. That goes an entirely different direction then.
Pretty sure if that if the fist comes through there, the lane completely shifts in terms of the strength of the champion. So yeah, it's a big worry. At the very least, Shen is kind of itemizing for the potential side lane power fight, right? So if it goes into a long side lane, he gets more and more advantage out of that. But it's still a risky effort to try and go that close for some kills.
Yeah. We also do have the Heartsteel finish there. We're going for a dive onto the Braum. A nice Glacial Fissure this time. Saber's waifu is going to die. Meanwhile, there is a fight over onto BC Anthony in the jungle.
He's still alive.
Somehow
Oh no!
is way under the tower. He executes?
Vendor walked back in, and he ends up dying by the Q, and Xenodrix executes himself. That's such a if it was planned 5-head play. If not, that's such an unlucky thing for Vendor.
Buddy.
Fight.
A really good E. The flash into it there as Pognometron still fighting on this top side. Feast is up now, as we're gonna see Cypher Soul go in onto Luckified.
The minion.
Liquefied has taken out the minion. Yeah, that is Sry, who is very low health. Is going to die, but take Liquefied with him. So Sry does end up going 1-for-1. But again, 1-for-1 is kind of not where you wanted to be here.
Would be the worst. Would be the most awaited.
No, the Redectin ult baited him, and the Redectin will at least stay alive. Cyphersoul now
really
going in
are
on to
looking to
BC
fight.
Anthony, though. Yeah, there is BC Anthony getting out of that one, going back in. Karma Shield providing a lot.
Ooh, nice.
Shred is there for this chase. BC Anthony gets his third kill of the game. Xenodrix now getting aggressed on by Bender. The bomb is hitting. The Mystic shots are not. And Xenodrix has to back away under the tower. TP now being used. Stry's trying to get in. They're going to go in. Stry's ults just to confirm that one, as BC Anthony will go down. And there's still action. Nature's Grasp on the top side is Liquefied, looking to go forward here, but Shenzi does not want to give anything there. The slice and dice out. Shenzi will stay alive.
This game has been just as equally chaotic as the previous one, 100%.
Honestly.
So much chaos.
It has been all over the place here. I think it's worth saying this Ezreal is in a very good place right now, but so is the Renekton, right? So yep. it becomes a question. And the Nico also really solid. It has been trades back and forth in that mid lane, but both mid laners doing decent. And Cho'Gath is going to start to scale, although may not help out right now, as Pognometron is going to get engaged on by Cyphersoul. A Heartsteel proc will hopefully get picked up there. Is now the bot lane. Xenodrix shifting out, but it's not enough. The reset on the jump and a shutdown going over to the Tristana. Check up on Pognometron, who's probably going to go down here. There is Liquefied. No, the Hex Splash there to get in onto Shenzi. BC Anthony has showed up, and they're just going to wipe this Renekton off the map onto Cyphersoul, who's in that dismounted version, so is a little bit slower. Stuns are hitting, but there's not enough damage. Rift Herald smashes into the side of the wall, which gives enough time for Cyphersoul to flash away, meaning that TDK win out not only on the fight, but they're going to be taking this tier 2 tower as well.
Essentially every place in the map they end up. Whoa! That was a close one. Saber with a perfect shield. Bender healed out of Reflect, but perfect timing on the shield. And yeah, in general, victory for the side of TDKB. But Saber may be getting collapsed here.
Yeah,
he wants to use the Hex.
I think collapsed is putting it lightly, as that will be another death for the Braum. Just as this dragon is spawning. Yeah, that is Soul Point. That is going to be given almost assuredly, because not only do they have the smite from Liquefied, but they don't have the feast from Pognometron, but they do have the threat of the Cho'Gath. There is a Nature's Grasp. Look at the damage. Shenzi is going to just fall. And now Grompy Grumps all of a sudden in very much control of this game.
Yeah, really weird how everything is kind of transpiring the game with a lot of kills, a lot of fights, a lot of overstays that are not necessary, and it's benefiting both sides. But in the long run, the more kills you get, the more it benefits the side that has this better scaling. Bender may be getting collapsed here, has to be careful. Yep.
Yeah, well,
that's a lot of damage.
Goodbye on that one, and the game is starting to get away from TDK. Srysai also feeling the pain of that one. Not gonna get the juke with the Clone as the shutdown over to BC Anthony on this Jace. And there is the Rift Herald that we did see get picked up when we saw Cyphersoul flashing over the wall. It's gonna be used on this tower.
I think there's an engage
tier 2. Here. They can't fight this. The only damage they have is this Renekton, and you have Ezreal and this Karma just throwing damage nonstop.
Exactly. Tristana is up now, though, so maybe they decide that they want a hard commit here. Especially because they did utilize the ultimate.
Yeah, this might be a little bit much here. No mana on this Maokai, and they do have Bender back up, but they cannot get the engage. There's no go button, at least not available in range, and that is going to mean that GG do get out of this cleanly.
They don't lose out on anyone, and they get a really valuable turret down there in the bot side, plus an extra crash onto the tier 3 turret. Really, really good in general. Really big amounts of value that they are able to get. BC Anthony, well,
Oh, yeah, BC Anthony. Walk through this tower here. Try maybe
there's
trying to
four
get this
members
one.
here.
Yeah, Shenzi is also around. Have to be aware. Yeah, the clone to block it. A nice little move. Shenzi should be able to get this one. No, BC Anthony
Whoa.
flashing away with that gate to get even further. Slice and dice. Not enough to get in. And there is the rest of the team to help out. Shenzi takes a little bit of damage in the process, but will get out. Cypher Soul, though, the next target. And that damage is starting to hurt.
They have multiple champions already at 2 items, and with the Jace as well, just completing more and more lethality, this is going to be so hurtful for the side of TDKB. They need to try and put a bit more pressure onto this game, because like we're talking about, the composition from GG scales better. So this is a perfect game state for them. They are not that. They are actually in a gold lead. They have a lot of control over the map. They have Soul Point in their favor as well. So Soul is going to be another big objective to try and fight for. And if the game goes longer, their composition just gets much more benefits.
We'll have to see here. Mid lane tower does go down. Bender happy to be of assistance on that one, but the rest of the team is coming in. Saber again caught out here, will go down. You just leave him to die as Xenodrix gets another kill. Now granted, at the very least, these Braum kills are not worth a whole lot.
True, at this point, not going to be the biggest difference maker. Maybe a Baron play here, though.
I mean, they can do it. They, once again, Cho'Gath is there, has the feast this time as well. TP is going to be used by Shenzi, who immediately goes over the wall. Shenzi, that's not Shenzi. That is Shraisai, who is going to just get immediately eviscerated. And Baron, they could just go right back to it if they want to.
Yeah, but I was thinking the same thing there as Saber's waifu. They had the R on the Nico. They were running onto the Nico. That was a perfect five-man Nico R opportunity there to make the play happen. And has a stopwatch as well. Wasn't bought before after he died, so the setup was perfect.
No, Saber's gonna go down again here if they're not careful. Nature's Grasp use a nice rel ult, but there's no damage to follow up on it. Bender can't get in range, has to hop over the wall. Xenodrix follows with the shift and the flash to get the kill, and it is 4 for nothing, and the Baron going over to Grompy Grumps.
It's really looking like a game 3 angle here with these team fights, how they are going, how everything is being executed. It's just looking like it's going to happen, really.
Yeah. Try. He's going to try and push them off of this at the very least, and Xenodrix still does take damage. That is a thing that Ezreal will have to contend with, but it is still BC Anthony on the top side as well, just taking towers as Jace does. And I've been made a believer. The Jace has worked.
Really effectively. He got kind of attacked quite a bit in the mid lane, but has been able to win so many fights and be so impactful. Quite fast as well.
Yeah. Dragon, this is the soul for the side of Grumpy Grumps. They have Pugnometron, who still does have that feast, but here comes the rest of the team. They could go for this fight. Cypher Soul is already under half health, though. A Glacial Fissure, a nice five-man Nico across the whole team, but I don't know if it's enough. They couldn't get the rest of the damage through. Sraisai is going to go down. Saber is almost gone, and they still have the health bars to keep going. It is a triple kill to BC Anthony, and the Hextech Dragon will get picked up for Soul Point. They might not even need it. They're just going to go for the end.
That has to be the biggest feels Batman ultimate that I've ever seen as an eco. 5-man Pop Blossom into nobody can follow because nobody can enter into the choke point, and there's no damage on the Nico because they are, I think they were like 7k gold behind at that point. It was awful. It was suffering. And that means that it's going to be the game, and GG taking us to a game 3.
Yeah, that will be us going to our third game of the night, with GG popping off in game number 2. A nice turnaround there. And they will end up taking us all the way to our final game of the night. I am just very, very impressed.
It was a really well played game by the side of GG, especially because they managed out the storm really well, right? It was a point where TDKB was in a comfortable spot, really far ahead. They had a really fed Renekton. The Nico was doing a really good job at managing the Jace, and then bot lane was kind of finding it out, but it was overall better for the side of Bender and Saber's waifu than for Synotrix and Avenel. So the way that they just managed it out, waited out their opportunity, and finally find the value that they needed was really well done by GG.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. With that, we're going to have to take some time here to get ready for that third game here, guys. So do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. It's 1-1. Who is going to take home the series win? We will find out in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody. We are hopping into our third draft of the night. Grompy Grumps having a nice turnaround in game number 2, utilizing that siege comp exactly as needed. That will take us to our game 3 draft, which we are seeing Seraphine and Brakan not going to be involved in.
So far, the same as the previous two games, but will they change everything up once again? They brought out Jarban, Jin, Bans on the side of TDKB for some reason, so I'm kind of interested in seeing if they are going to bring them out once again. Jarban, yes, Viego as well, but now that GG's on the blue side, will they ban out something like the 6 once again since they have first pick? Or take the Jace or Tristana as well. Those are possibilities now that are open because apparently nobody wants Kai'Sa.
It is boggling my mind
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm not
And
accustomed to that.
yeah, and granted, again, was nerfed, and I think the nerf is stronger than what people are saying, because you have to remember that the so they hit the AP on her Q pretty hard,
Yeah,
because it was a drop on the way that the damage is calculated is on every individual missile. So if you're dropping the AP on every individual missile, like that's a huge change, right? Like each one that
yep.
you're hitting is doing less, and the ones that you're missing, that's even more. Like you're just not going to hit every single missile on the same target. So the Q was nerfed pretty good on that AP build. Granted, I still think a strong champion. Maokai, though, is going to be our lock in here, which was pretty solid here for Grompy Grumps in game number 2. Looks like we may end up with a Lilia response in terms of the jungle picks here for TDK, though.
Overall, really like the Lilia. Great variation towards having somewhere else the magical damage instead of forcing it on the mid lane. Really good for the sleep value. And then the clear, I think one of the things that got better and better over with one of the few buffs that she received recently is the clear speed, right? Because now it's a bit much consistent in how it's done, and it's really effective to try and pump now the Seri potentially. And Seri has been popping back up into popularity. I don't know why people stopped playing her realistically. I know the nerf was kind of good, but she always has had options, kind of similar to the
Mm-hmm.
Kai'Sa. And I feel like people just stopped playing her because of a bit of a hit.
Yeah, I mean it's the numbers go down, everyone panics, and nobody wants to pick the champion.
Yeah,
I've seen it time and time again. It also
always
works the other
happens.
way around. One of my favorite points to bring up is there was a patch where there was a Vladimir, but we have a Singe. We'll get back to that in a second. um,
Okay.
but there was a patch where Vladimir got a buff, and his pick rate and his win rate just shot up really hard. And then it turns out that buff never went live. So he
True.
just was always really good. And that buff meant nothing. He was already solid and people just didn't realize it. It's one of my favorite, like, kind of numbers points to bring up. The Singed, though, locked in what I would assume is going to be the top lane here for Grompy Grumps with no lock in on the other side. This is just I don't see a lot of Singed in any kind of competitive play.
It's so weird to see him coming through, but I do like the cinch for the value of the. I don't know the exact name, so I'm going to call it puddle for the puddle value. It's really good to deny the movement from multiple champions, and Lydia is one of those champions that it's so hard to try and lock down. Having that puddle there to at the very least slow her enough so that the point and click CC can come through can be a really good advantage. Same for the Seri. Like if you're able to put the puddle down, even if she still can move, you have much more of a margin to try and
Yeah.
lock her down here.
Well, I mean, the big thing here that I'm looking at is Zeri can't go over walls if you drop the glue, right? Zeri can't
Oh, true.
get
Yeah,
away
she
if
can't
you
escape.
if you throw that. She has to get back away from that in order to hop over a wall. So that is a level of response there, and that can give Maokai all the time he needs to get that twisted advance on to that. But the Kale lock in here, which seems to exacerbate like that early game that Singed can have, right? Like Kale is not going to be a champion that's just going to trade farm with the Singed. The minions are going to hit the tower with Kale, especially pre
Yep.
6 and probably pre 11.
It's going to be really difficult for the tail to do anything apart from existing in top lane. And diving here pre level 6 is so easy with Sinja and Maokai as well. So could be actually really risky to try and play around with this scale. Now the benefit though later on is going to be amazing. And one thing we've kind of seen so far this series, right? It's the fact that comps that have that late game policy, late game assurance. Oh, we're getting a Fury.
Ooh, and the Fury. Okay, as I do reconnect to the Discord call. Apologies for that.
Oh,
Discord decided it was time to take a nap. Um,
but you can wake up now with that Nat Fury peak out of nowhere.
yeah, I guess that I can. Which again, I'm Now, granted, I've seen a bit of Nefiri, and I think Nefiri is solid, and obviously she is getting a nerf next patch, but
True.
I'm a little concerned because again, we're looking at a Maokai and a Singed. And last time Maokai did not really build tanky, did not have the runes for tank, but you still can build a tanky Maokai, and that's a decent front line there to keep people away from this Tristana's Jin. And obviously Jin being locked in is pretty big because that is Xenodrix's main. Does want to have that champion, and that does also tell us Tristana going to the mid lane.
It's going to be the Tristana mid now, and she has so many good control, so much good control in the mid lane, so many good matchups that I'm surprised we didn't see her in the mid lane in the previous game. Now to lock everything up with that Soraka, so trying to have the counter to just a straight up burst, that quick heal that the Soraka can bring to try and salvage a member can be ideal, but she's also quite squishy. Another target for this Nafiri, and I'm kind of interested in the Nafiri Kale combo, the ultimate onto the Nafiri, just diving in, and maybe that way you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of dissuade the burst just coming through immediately, and the Karma to try and close it out. These are really magic damage heavy comp though.
It's a very mobile comp as well, though, because like
Yeah.
you're looking at Lily, who's going to be really fast. The Fury can dive in effectively. Zeri with a Karma is a lot of extra move speed. You can get a Shurelia's as well. Like TDK, they have the ability to just kind of go whenever they need to. And when you're playing something that has like a Singe or a Maokai that's just trying to try and set up these saplings, you have opportunities to catch Grompy Grumps not ready.
Which could be a really good opportunity to try and make the most out of their composition. But I'm trying to visualize it in a straight 5v5 situation, right? Where everyone is just standing in front of each other, trying to gain control over objective, more than likely dragon, because everyone fights for dragons, even if it's cloud. And in that kind of scenario, I just think that their composition will get really heavily impacted by the huge lag of a tank. Any poke that they get hit by, from be it Maokai if he goes AP route or not, any sort of CC that comes through, even the poke from the Jhin as well, they may get blown up really quickly. And no frontline here kind of scares me for TDKB. I feel like they pulled out a bit too much focus on the damage, and they really need a frontline to stand in front of that damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to be, I guess, concerned about with I think both of these compositions. Right? There's
Yeah.
weak points for sure that both sides can really do something with, and I'm just kind of interested. I feel like laning phase is just going to be really, really influential here for a couple of reasons. Because I'm looking at the Singe Kale lane, and that's huge, right? Singe is going to just try and proxy as much as possible. Jungle attention becomes important. Singed Lilia can keep up with Singed, and actually stop him from getting away. Kale though can't really help, and that's a whole dynamic in and of itself. Mid lane, Tristana, not the worst thing into something like the Nefiri, can always jump away, but Nefiri still just can roam really effectively if given the right time, and I don't think Tristana can match that level of wave clear, especially early on. And then bot lane, you have a Soraka alongside this Jhin. There's not a lot of like hard crowd control peel if you don't have Maokai in the vicinity.
Trying to control targets is going to be quite difficult. Because of something that that you also mentioned previously, right? The huge amount of mobility that Seri and Karma have. They may not have. Well, Karma doesn't have a dash, but a lot of movement speed, and then Seri has a dash and a lot of movement speed. So trying to keep them in place, it's already difficult, even with the Maokai. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you have no more sources to try and keep them in place, gaining advantages may be really complicated. I do think that the fact that they do win the pushing battle just because the Jhin pushes really easily, and Soraka Karma, yes, Karma may have the advantage in that, but it's range be range. So in that sense, I can see Jhin Soraka win that pushing battle much more effectively. Enables a lot for the early dragon controls. And we may see a
Mm-hmm.
situation similar to the previous game where 3 dragons go really early towards GG, and even if they lose out on some of them, they still have the backup from the dragons that they already collected. But they also can now force the side of TDKB to go into them for dragon fight. and that's a lot of what the GG composition wants to be able to accomplish. So with that bot lane control, I can see them being able to gain huge amounts of advantage just off the fact of the pushing and the control that they have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at TDK and saying this is a composition that for a lot of these champions, a one item spike is really powerful,
Yeah.
right? Like Kale obviously has the levels, but a Duskblade on Neferi, a Shirelia's or whatever Karma is going to pick up as the support. I would expect Shirelia's in this instance for that. The Leandries most likely for the Lilia. These are all champions that hit really hard spikes with that. And again, with a Shirelia's on a Karma and a Lilia, you have the ability to just run people down very effectively. That's where I think TDK is really looking to spike very hard. It's just a question of one, is there enough recognition on that? Or and two, is there the capability to utilize that at the right times?
And also, I would say what happened, like how much did the laning phase affect them? Because technically speaking, right, like Tristana and Singed should be able to gain natural advantages in their lanes. So if they are really far when that moment comes, is it going to be a big enough difference for them to try and overcome? I think that's another point to try and keep our eyes on. Because if they are even, I agree 100%. I think one item power spike, they persecute, they can destroy the side of GG quite effectively. But
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of the fear that because of just laning phase differences, maybe they are not in their strongest points when they need to, and when they finally reach that, Tristana has 1.5 item and can contest you, and same for the
Yeah.
Maokai or the Singed.
Yeah, early game becomes important, and that mid game spikes. What are they going to be able to take advantage of it? Is it going to work out the way that they want? We're going to have to see because we are in our spectator delay for this final game of the night, guys. Don't go anywhere. You're going to want to see how this works out, but we're going to catch you on the other side of this break. And welcome in, everybody, to game number 3, the ultimate game. And we are seeing already some grouping from both teams. Seems like we are going to get TDK getting a little bit aggressive early on, but the aggression seems like it's going to get matched here.
Who wins the 5v5 at level 1? Both
I
supports
don't
technically shouldn't
know.
work that well, so I think it has
Uh,
to be the Cinch,
I
right?
think I think Karma's pretty good level 1. I'm going to be honest.
But fair enough, yeah, that's also true. I always think of the level 1 invading with the stuns in mind, but
Yeah.
speaking straight up of damage, 100% the Karma here could destroy them. And they are waiting on this push, so actually.
Ooh,
But
they're going
is
to see
Kale
it.
in?
Yeah, they're going to see it. They did see Karma. They know something's funky here. As there is the Qs, the damage coming out a little bit as Pognometron takes a chunk of damage, but nothing traded back. And it seems like it's just going to be a trade across the board. Some Spell Thieves stacks going each way. There's nothing gained either way. No, we are going to get a little bit more funky here. Pognometron
Really
is going
wanna
to have to
find-
walk back up here. Now they're sending the Tristana up in that top side here, and we're still fighting over this red buff.
Yeah, who wins? Cypher is trying to get a damage. I think they can win this. Okay,
Oh,
Maokai gets
Smite
it.
is good from Luckified, and that's going to be really big here.
Oh,
Has the
Cypher.
ability to continue on this. Cypher Soul very, very low. First
Yep.
blood going to Xenodrix, and all hell is going to break loose from here. Saber, his wife, who flashes over the wall. Vendor now stuck alone, trying to run away. Uses the ghost, going to be speeding out. Good slow there from Avenel, but they don't have the damage to follow through, and that is going to be a 1-for-0 as Xenodrix gets first blood.
Getting the first blood, plus the fact that they also collected their own red buff, means that it's such a good start for the side of GG. 100% dependent on who gets that red buff. If the Lydia gets it, I think it's actually 3 kills for the side of TDKB. So really close affair, really nice execution, and Tristana going in onto Shenzi.
Yeah, I expect that to be happening a couple
Yep.
of times here. It's really interesting here. I was not expecting them to swap the lanes here, which I unfortunately with the bot cannot do. So we will have to just remember that it is the Singed mid and the Tristana in the top side. But interesting swap there. I think it's great there for the aggression. Xenodrix also going to move up there and too far forward. Saber pays the price. And Saber, again, not having a great start. Vendor flashes in for the kill, though. Crazy play, and Vendor trades 1-for-1.
Yeah, at the very least, looking to try and salvage the lane with that flash in plus a kill. That means that now, at the very least, there's a really strong power point to look out for and play around for in the form of Bender. Really good flash and really nice threshold of damage. But overall, the start for GG is still really, really good. The fact that they have been able to punish the scale really effectively to start the game, even if not in the form of CS, has been really nice to see. Early teleport already blown by the kill, and now Pognometron is just going to try and get some farm here in the mid lane. Even kills a dog.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Granted, like, I said I've seen enough of, or I've seen like a bit of the Neferi. Have not seen it into a Singed. It kind of surprising how
Weird.
quick those dogs went down to the poison. This may be an unknown counter that I was not aware of.
Which weirdly enough was picked. The Nafiri was picked after the Singe, so it's either something that only Pognometron knows. Oh, Shenzi.
Yeah, Pognometron is
has
up
flash.
here. Another jump for the slow.
Doesn't
There
matter.
is the glue to just slow even further. A nice follow through with the flash for the flip, and BC Anthony's gonna get a kill up on top side. So multiple lanes doing well for GG now.
May have had the flash there, Shenzi, but it doesn't matter. Quick follow up by Pognometron means that it's going to be a counter kill. Oh, Lucky Fight?
Yeah, there are enough minions
Singe is
there.
coming too.
Yeah, Pognometron is around. Luckified has bought enough time. Glue trap used again. The flip.
Oh, they don't get the sun.
Did not get anything out of that one, but still, Luckified gets some farm out of that roam. Things working out great right now for GG.
Oh,
I spoke too
maybe.
soon.
Yeah.
Oh my
good flash.
goodness. Yeah, really good
Oh,
flash.
no.
The bowling ball is good. We've hit a strike, and Cypher Soul comes out with the kill.
legitimately think the flash is a bit overkill, but maybe the threshold in damage wasn't enough in that play. But the bowling ball hitting really unlucky for Lucky Fight, about to escape, but that gets enough of the slow and also the extra damage to be able to close out the kill and get a lot of value there.
Oh,
Tron.
yeah, may have stayed a
Ooh,
little bit too long. Ghost used, but I
yep.
don't think it's enough there. Damage is good. Sry picking up one now as everybody is just going to get in on some level of action, apparently.
It's a repeat of the previous two games, really. Really, everyone fights, everyone gets an advantage, but then they kind of give up an advantage, giving it to the enemy team. So it's just fun overall. It's a fun series. Everyone likes to get kills.
We're playing catch, right? You get a little bit, we get a little bit, back and forth until eventually something works out one way or the other. Right now, it is pretty even across the board here. But again, Jin is the benefactor of all of this more than anything. A early serrated or early Dirk there picked up by the Jin, which will be really, really important for this laning phase. And
Yep.
it is going to give them the pressure to take this first dragon.
And thinking about the enemy comp as well, the lethality is going to have so much value because nobody is incentivized to go with armor O.
Oh,
And
yeah,
thinking,
top lane, another
oh
gank
wait,
there, but Cypher is taking a lot in the process. There is a level 6 there on the Kale, but the damage still not really strong. BC Anthony just gets to walk away, and the dragon will be picked up. So, GG, pulling ahead just a little bit. Luckified Hex flashing over that
Lucky
wall, not
Fight.
in maybe where you
Yep.
wanted to be. A vendor, again, just pops in to say hello and walks out with a cool 300 gold in the pocket.
More kills for the series, certainly what you want to try and pull off if you're playing on the series team. On the other side, not the best look for Lucky Fight. Hasn't had the best of early games just yet. After gaining that rep buff, everything hasn't been going that great for the Maokai. Two deaths that look really bad and could have been avoided, and importantly, giving them up to important targets. Both the Levy and the Seri gaining that goal advantage can make a difference later on in the game. But overall, it's still pretty close in gold, and as long as nobody goes over like a certain line, it should still be fine for GG.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And I also kind of want to point out something that's a little bit surprising here too. Is the Kale is even in farm with this Tristana, despite everything that has happened. Every time we peaked up topside, it was Tristana just jumping on this Kale. Still even out in farm, and we are at level 7 now on this Kale. So the ranged has come through for that, and it makes it just that little bit easier.
The easy, the farther away you have to go to try and farm, the best it is for the KL
Yeah,
almost always. So at this point, having a bit more fan, farming really nicely. Considering that she's going against the Tristana, I feel like she hasn't been pushed as hard as she could have.
definitely. Things will start to slow down a little bit here. Do have Cypher to keep an eye on in that jungle, but we'll be trying to
Oh,
steal away this red buff. No, Avenel gonna poke out. Will be aware of this one, so this will bring others over. Now, the sleep is used on this, and I don't think they can take advantage of that. So that's a big ultimate down. But they do have the help from the Nefiri, so Sraya will make sure they can confirm the red buff over to Cypher Soul. And that will be all she wrote on that one.
quite an
Things,
aggressive sleep,
yeah.
honestly. Like I'm fine with that play if he does it as soon as the Soraka walks in, but
Yeah.
waited way too long for to try and make it work. Oh,
And now
Shenzi,
we're getting
no.
another push up on this top side. This time it is Luckified coming in for the gank, and Shenzi actually moving forward, maybe just accepting defeat here. And if Shenzi actually goes down to Luckified, that might work out a little bit better here.
So
No,
I think he
still is
gets a bit of the
alive.
wave. Yeah, he gets
Wait.
a wave thanks to the ultimate. He ultis.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Tristana gonna
Get
pop
the
in.
minion!
Nope. Just gonna
Oh,
go over to
actually, yeah.
Luckified.
Yeah, I thought Tristana at the very least got the assist. That's still a lot of value actually for Shenzi. Tristana doesn't get anything out of that play. The wave got completely shrunk. Oh, Shrai.
Oh, yes, right now. Gonna get flipped into the glue, which does give the root
Damage!
there. But the ignite is enough, and Sry will actually get the kill on that. A turnaround thanks to the help from Cypher Soul.
Stry played that out really, really nicely, and we're seeing Nafiri dealing not only a lot of damage, but being able to play really scary situations effectively. Plus, Cypressol being in the best point possible.
Ooh,
Oh,
Root is gonna hit though, and Xenodrix moving forward onto
Bender.
Saber, but a lot of damage getting put back on the Jin. They will confirm the kill onto the Karma, but now they've got to try and run away. Bender is just gonna dash
Bender
forward.
with
The
this.
ultimate is doing a lot of damage. There is the kill for the Jin. Vendor gets a double at the end of the day because they just put too much into the Karma.
Seri moment number who knows what. That is so easy for them to execute on. And Bender destroys the side of the Jin and the Soraka. Actually, could be looking for a potential kill.
Nah, won't be able to get it. I loved the cheeky little
They mode.
the wall bang onto the hex
Oh,
flashing
Bender.
Maokai. Ooh, just barely gets
Ooh.
by the glue.
That's actually an important thing to know right now. The fact that you can jump it just before it gets on top of you.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah,
Shenzi has the
Shenzi
ulti.
now engaged on, but here comes Cypher, who is going to get the sleep, but it's still BC Anthony who gets the kill, gets to jump away and flashes, but the move speed is enough. It is 1-for-1, but, you know, this has kind of been the story of the night. Ganks keep going 1-for-1 on both sides.
Important timing though that they do get the kill onto the kill while the ultimate is not up, because at that opportunity, in another opportunity, that probably is just ultimate and the Tristana dies,
Yeah.
achieving nothing. So good kill at the very least.
Oh,
Oh, Pognometron.
yeah, Singe cannot really stay in fighting range here. Dragon is going to be started up here by GG, and they're going to try and at least get their soul win con going for themselves. Saber is going to snuff this one out. Lilia is around. There is no sleep. They will get the dragon kill at least, but now they're going in, and Fury has come back around. A nice silence from the Soraka gets Xenodrix out, and Sry has to back away. Curtain Call has opened. That's one kill.
Who can
going
tank
on
that?
to the Jin. They can't find the Nefiri, so it will just be the one. But it is a turnaround again for Grompy Grumps.
Really lucky that nobody else died, but that's the big issue. You may commit and get the damage. Oh, Shenzi.
Oh,
has to be careful.
The bomb is so good right now. Now there is still the ultimate on the Kale, so you can just get that Divine Judgment, stay alive under the tower, so you cannot go for the tower dive.
Pretty sure that's also why Tristana doesn't commit heavily, right? The fact that ultimate has to be up now, so you cannot overcommit. But we see Tristana just destroying this kill with so much damage. And no teleport, which means that this wave is going to crash, and potentially another plate just before the plates fall down.
Yeah, and we have seen it time and time again that Tristana's only going when the jump reset will come through. A nice Q, which gives Vendor the chance to go over the wall. The W misses. Vendor is doing so much damage. Oh my goodness. But Pognometron has showed up. Mega Adhesive. Vendor maybe getting flipped into it. No, it disappears in time. And now Vendor's just going to turn and go directly onto the bot lane. Does not have the damage to do so. Lilia is trying to get over here. Fury will also show up. And then Avidel will go down to Sry. Xeno going to try to pull off some crazy plays in the little cubby, but not gonna survive on that one. Pognometron also down as well. That is a clean, well, not clean because they did lose Vendor, but it is 3-for-1. It is a dominant victory on the map for TDK.
Really good. They do get the shutdown onto Bender, which gold wise it's quite nice, but certainly collapsing and punishing the side of GG while that play is happening, really, really good for them. Shenzi has to be careful because Tristana is there as well. So one point and click ability by the Maokai probably means you're dead. But not looking like, okay, I spoke too soon.
Yep, Twisted Advance. There is the Divine Judgment. Will survive, but now they have the ability to keep going. We'll just take that and leave. Yeah. Nefiri has also made her way up. Reset on to the red buff there. Gonna try and go for the sleep onto both of the bot laners. They've split apart. They're just gonna go onto the Soraka, but the Blast Cone gives enough there to get away. Cypher Soul not gonna get anything out of that engage. That is really unfortunate. Again, it's the same thing we saw a couple of minutes ago. The Blast Cone has saved Avidel twice now.
It was one more champion though, but yeah, Blast Cone on the perfect placed at the perfect moment to try and save his life. Try again looking for this pig onto Pogonometron. This Naafiri really is doing a lot of damage. I was actually kind of curious because I don't know this word in English. How do you call like the multiple like dogs? Is it a pack?
Yeah, that would be a pack.
Okay, so it's technically a pack. It's a pack of wolves. Okay.
Yep. Now I'm just imagining like you're going to the gas station to pick up a pack of wolves, like it's a pack of cigarettes.
It's the complications of being a non-native speaker.
Yes. I realized like that really can just be confusing there. It's like there's so many weird ones too. Just like moose. Like I think the plural for moose is just moose, but some people will say meese. Like because people
I
just
was
don't
one
know.
of them. I
Yeah.
was one of them. I gotta say.
Yeah, like because how would you know? Nobody teaches you this, especially like we don't learn this in America when we learn English. How would I expect anybody who doesn't know English as a native language to know?
Yeah, it's kind of the magic and at the same time the irony of the languages. Like some words you just simply don't expect them to exist. And it happened. Oh wait, Avenel.
Well, Avenel may not be existing for very long as Bender flashes over the wall. A nice wallbang to try and get more damage down, and Bender will clean that kill up and just back away. Anthony flies over on a blast cone, but it is still just a 1-for-0, no Soraka for what is probably going to be this dragon fight.
Pretty much. I don't even know if they should be fighting for this. They already secured the first two, so you can give this one up, and it shouldn't feel that bad. Because at this point, Seri has one item. She doesn't have the item lead, but she has 2 levels over Senatrix. Now 1. She's so far ahead in terms of experience, and that matters a lot when looking at these 80 carry fights for objectives.
Definitely.
Oh, wait, Bender?
They do actually
Sure,
have
fine.
Avenel back up, so this Soraka will be around for the fight. A ghost is used. They're trying to go on to Saber, and they will flip him into the root, and that's a dead Karma. All of a sudden, the support power play has swapped. Sry is trying to run off here, but there is a a Nature's Grasp.
Oh, Sry is dead.
As Shutdown going over to Luckified, 2 down, and all of a sudden, Grompy Grumps are in a position where they can get maybe another Dragon. Bender's dashing forward, but the heals from the Soraka are good.
Oh,
BC
the
Anthony
base!
is just pushing with this Rift Herald. Curtain Call is opening in the meantime, trying to hit Bender, but this Zeri is way too fast grounded, not gonna hit Flash, also not good there. They're gonna turn now
Everyone is
on
dying.
to the Lilia, who is trying to hop, skip, and jump away. Sleep is now hitting, but the cleanse, or no, not cleanse, immediately just flashing away. I don't know how the sleep didn't hit there. As Topside is fighting too.
Shenzi's dead.
You're under the tower, dude.
What the hell happened in the last 3 minutes? Everyone dies, everyone fights, and nobody on the side of TDKB is gaining any value. This turns into now the soul point being easily collected by the side of GG, and maybe another kill. Saber?
Oh, Bender has showed up. A nice wallbang
he
on
got
there.
ulti?
The Flash Q not going to pick up the kills, but they're going to go now onto Luckified. They may be able to get this dragon. They steal away the soul points. All of the health bars are blinking for GG, and they lose out on the dragon as well.
Being honest here, though, the fact that it's just the dragon and a kill is probably the best outcome for GG. Because, like you're pointing out, multiple blinking health bars coming through in that play. Almost about to die on each side. And at the end, saving it by a bit. Shenzi committing way too heavily on the top lane. And because Tristana hasn't been playing the game against anyone. She's been PvEing all the time. Gets 3 turrets bot lane, gets 1 turret top lane. A lot of gold into the pockets of this Tristana. And I think it's just going to be Tristana split pushing until the end.
I mean, why wouldn't it be at this point, right? She can just continue onwards. I want to check runes here. We don't have the Demolish. So what we have seen pretty often from the solo lane Tristanas is the Demolish pickup as well. Just to continue, again, just split push really, really heavily. Does not have it on BC Anthony, but it's still Tristana capable of just popping people and taking towers down very quick. And we are going to see an example of that right now, as there goes the Karma, Cypher Soul getting jumped on by BC Anthony. There is going to be another kill onto BC Anthony because Tristana does a lot of damage, guys. We're continuing on to Vendor. Vendor's going to hop over the wall, but Pognometron is not far from this. There is a little bit too fast, though.
The others, they could be looking now for Baron. Yeah, they should be rushing towards the Baron. No jungler, no support. They have to walk into you to try and get in, and that means that it's Singed. That the Maokai are going to be super happy about it. Plus, free heating 80 carries. This is a free objective for them, and the control of the game completely in the hands of GG. BC Anthony just came back from the sidelines from pushing multiple turrets with one and a half item and killing multiple targets.
Dad came home with the pack of wolves from the department or from the gas station, and has now completely. Man, did you see what happened in the last 5 minutes? I don't have words anymore.
Understandable. We're 26 kills at 20 minutes, more than 1 kill a minute. This series has had more than a kill a minute in general, so it's just too much.
Some would say it's a play-by-play's dream. For me, it is my vocal cords nightmare.
Yeah, it's a play-by-play's dream when I would argue when we can say it in the World Championship or something like that. But when it's a night before having to go to work, I would argue maybe not so much.
Yeah, it's all perspective, right?
True.
If I could take the next day and just drink tea all day and not have to speak, be fine. Life must go on.
That would be the best. That would be the best for my vocal cords. Yeah. I agree.
The game will continue on, though, as we're going to be seeing, I think, a little bit of slowdown for the time being, unless we, just don't for some reason, because that's happened a couple of times in this series. But it's just going to be Baron pushing for the time being. And again,